In this video, I'll be going through the build that turns any hunter roaming super into the best damage super in the game and can easily guarantee that you're the top damage in your raid group. To start, you're going to want to make sure that you have Star Eater scales or Spirit of Star Eater if you're playing on Prismatic, as Star Eater's exotic perk, Feast of Light, grants you up to 70% super damage after picking up 6 Orbs of Light with a charged super. Your next priority is stats. You're going to want to make sure that you have as much super stat as possible and as much melee stat as possible. And you may be wondering why melee stat, as most supers in the game only benefit from the super stat, but hunter supers such as Arc Staff, Spectral Blades, and Silk Strike all benefit from the melee stat. And alongside the 30% buff from the melee stat, the 45% buff from the super stat, this season you get access to Shield Crush, which gives you another 50% buff to all your melee attacks, including the super melees. In terms of my personal build, if you're shooting for solo play, I really recommend the actual Star Eater's boots because the overshield counts for Shield Crush. If you're playing in a fire team setting, I really recommend the cloak, especially one that has Galanor and Star Eaters, because Galanor refunds over 25% of your super after you're done using it, which just helps you build another one way faster. In terms of my stats, I have 150 super with 3 super fonts to get me up to 200. I have 150 melee with 3 melee fonts to get me up to 200. I have stacks on stacks to get more armor charges for those fonts, and I have time dilation to keep those longer and powerful attraction to grab more orbs. In terms of weapons, I have Mint Retrograde with Bait and Switch just for that extra damage, and it helps build a super very fast. I have Yeartide Apex to build orbs, and I have Finality's Augur, which also does a considerable amount of damage while you're in your super, and it helps build another super when you're out of it. In terms of your subclass, your choices are pretty open. The one recommendation that I have is that if you have Renewal Star Eaters, you use Dustfield Grenade instead of Grapple, because Dustfield gives everybody, including yourself, Frost Armor and proc Shield Crush a lot easier than anything else. I think Threaded Spike is the best melee option, outside of maybe Combination Blow if you're building more into grapples, but this build doesn't. Aspects, I think Ascension is a must-have for the free Amplified. Gunpowder Gamble can be replaced, but I like Gunpowder Gamble and I also like the 3 fragment slots. For my fragments, I'm using Courage for my Ascensions and Gunpowder Gamble, Purpose for my Woven Mail, Protection for DR, Blessing for the occasional Grapple Melee and Threaded Spike, and Hope to build my Ascension back faster. Alright, so heading into the range, you can see I'm already set up with the Feast of Light X6 and a 3 armor charge, but your main rotation when you have all this is setting up that Finality's Augur turret, proccing Bait and Switch, and then instantly sending that super. I'm using Snare Bomb here just to kind of simulate a debuff because I'm solo, so I'm going to throw up that turret, mark the boss with it, proc Bait and Switch, send the Snare Bomb, and then pop the super. As you can see, does around 75,000 damage. I took this into the Wyvern in Desert Perpetual with 5 feats active, and this is what it looked like.
Yeah.
Normally there's one that spawns on the bridge, so that's pretty good. I'm good then.
Okay, starting.
Yeah, be careful though. Hydra's already kind of here, so.
I pre-trackered him, so that's better.
Apotheosis is just going.
Why is my melees aren't hit for as much? So I had X6 there, and I had frost armor, and it just wasn't dealing damage. Like it wasn't doing the double damage.
Why did I only get an X2, man? Still killed. Oh!
Nice.
Dude.
We got it.